Hello everyone, good evening again. So not much problems today, so I was able to stream and connect to the live stream quickly. So I already have a few questions which I see. We'll take them up as and when we start the session. But otherwise, a very good evening and welcome back to another session. Yeah, so we have around 11 people who have joined. We'll look at Purna's question and Parvish's question shortly. Hi Vijay, good evening. So probably another 30-40 seconds. We'll wait and then we can start. Okay, hi Dinesh, hi Shiva. I think I know the names by heart who's going to join every day. But otherwise, how was the portfolio today? So my portfolio personally was okay, not great. But a trade with Trendline investor portfolio was down 1% because of the sell-off from LXCHEM or LXCHEM Organics. But remember, we broke out from the channel yesterday, so we are still looking good. And it's just probably retest of the channel. We'll get to know tomorrow. Otherwise, yeah. Hi Akshay, hi Rohit, hi UV. So we have 16 people who have joined. So let's get started with the Nifty view, right? And then we come back to the questions of other people. So Nifty has been having a tremendous move. In fact, I did not expect such a strong one-way move up, but since we broke out from this cup and handle, it's been a one-way move up, right? It's just not giving any opportunity to buy short consolidations, and then it's just dipping and going higher and higher. And this last 15-minute spurt, or the 3 p.m. after 3 p.m. this spurt was crazy. Yeah, that almost we had, from 1760 we almost had a 60-point move, or almost 0.5% move. But our plan as per yesterday was, we said that this could be probably one of the points that we should be buying, or we said until we don't go below this, we should be looking at buying, right? We don't probably look at shorts. So if you see this morning again, we had a gap up, not a gap up, but we had a strong open and we kind of dipped. Now that dip could have been used as an opportunity to buy. Now in case some people might find it difficult to use trend lines and buy, so as usual I always say go with your 10, 20, 50 and 200-day moving average. So that's the 10, 20, 50 moving average. And if you see, so we've been kind of hovering around that 20-day moving average, 20 period moving average, and it's just been going around that. So even if you were scared to take using a trend line or something, you could have probably taken this position, because we are still above the 50 period moving average, and this stock has not seen after that dip, there was no major dip. So you could have probably taken this green candle here, or probably even this high, above this high, right? So above this high we had kind of came and retested again, we had a breakout here. So you could have probably bought that breakout at that point, or even this retest over here. So there are multiple opportunities, but whether you were ready to play this entire move from here, that depends on you, right? So even if you had bought at 12.10, you could have made a decent move, except for these panic sell-offs that we had once in a while. Otherwise, I think it was a one-way move up with minor dips in between. So still our logic of our pivot indicator, even that could have been used. I've not used it for some time, so just putting that so that you can know what are pivots and how you can use it, right? So even if you plot the pivots, I'm not sure why it's not coming. Yeah, the indicator doesn't seem to work. Probably some problem with trading view, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a built-in indicator, you can go and use this. Yeah, it's not really working, something went wrong. Okay, let's try once more. Yeah, so that there it is. So if you see, so since this breakout here that we had a gap up, and we've just been going higher and higher and higher, right? So yeah, pivots are good indicators to kind of trail your profits, but remember, you also give back profits. So for example, if this dip came all the way down, you'd have given back profits. That's why I say try to learn price action, or just try to read naked charts, and you'd be much better, right? So otherwise, good move today, and as of now, I see that probably we're going to make a top this week sometime, or probably tomorrow or day after, because I think that we are almost we've broken out of this line over here. Okay, that's not really right line, but let's go to the daily chart to just give it a better view, right? So since this move on yeah, since the dip we had, and if you just connect this point and this point, right? So I just go to the hourly charts just to make it more clear. So yeah, I'm connecting this parallel channel over here, right? So these lower part of the trend line, so I just drag it there like that, right? And I'm just connecting that point over there. So that was the time when we started moving up. So after this massive consolidation, that's since when we started moving up, and we've kind of been going higher and higher. So probably one more push towards 7200 or levels, you know, probably to 73,300 also. Probably we go sideways for a couple of days ahead or towards 70,300, and then probably we would make some kind of a consolidation like this, and then we might head higher as well. So not sure what's going to happen, but for now the trend is clearly up. Again, you can't be buying directly tomorrow at open, so probably what you need to do is, if you are planning to trade intraday tomorrow, so this trend line now looks very steep, right? So we have this, which is a primary trend line, and then we have this trend line which has become really steep, right? So you can also do that, or you just keep it like that. So yes, so that's the trend line that you want to look at, and probably you know, we are going to also do something like this and just trying to get the trend line, right? So you see, it's all a kind of you know, a trial and error. It's not really something that I grew up you know, learning trend lines. It's just all a practice. So probably I'm not sure about the upper channel, other upper trend line, but this lower trend line, probably we might come back and retest that. But remember, the trend is really strong, and if you want to buy, then probably what you can do is, as I always say, just use pivots, right? So we've already gone so high. Also, this was kind of a wedge breakout here, right? So probably if you do a retest tomorrow, if you gap down tomorrow towards levels of 70-90, then you can probably look at going long. But always remember the pivot high lows, right? So this is a recent pivot point, and we have one more here. So these are the levels, two levels you have to watch out for if you're short. Then these are two levels below, probably below 1770, 1710 is when I'd probably short, and I'd go probably even aggressive below 17,000 levels, right? So 6980 levels. So tomorrow, but however, tomorrow if you get a dip, you know, anywhere between 17,010 and here, right? So between 17,010 and 1770, if you get a buying opportunity, probably you can go long Nifty again. The momentum is really strong, so we might probably consolidate for some more time, and then probably head higher as well. But that's the level to look out for. So 17,070. If you get a dip tomorrow, and if you reverse, then that's one level to buy, and then the other level to buy is also 16,980, right? So there are multiple levels. So that's the plan. Now, if you want to go short, don't go short unless we go below 17,010 or 17,000 levels, right? So because that's the pivot that I'm looking at. So if you don't want to use the pivot indicator, it's the recent swing high, swing low that you want to look at. So all these points are marking up pivots, right? So these are the major pivots that you want to look at, and you know, that can also be used for targets, right? So that's probably the plan. So if we any dip towards 17,060, 1770 can be used to go long, and below 17,010 you can probably use that to go short. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, a strong trend. Markets are really cherry. I don't know what's coming up, but it's been fantastic. It's probably the money, as people say, it's the liquidity which is pushing the markets up. But for now, we are on a really strong trend, and we're almost there, probably towards upper end of the channel. Okay, so don't forget that as well. So yeah, that's the Nifty view. Let's look at our portfolio, right? So trade with channel investor. If you're new, then this is where I trade with 1 lakh real money. It's a very small capital, but you'll learn a lot of concepts, and also you'll see with small money also how you can probably increase your money. And if you're working full time, then keep adding some money every month to this portfolio and try to build your capital over a period of time. Try to get it at least 3 to 5 lakhs so that you get a meaningful return out of this portfolio, right? But while you build the capital, what's important is that you kind of you know, learn the concept of risk management and all that. So that's the core idea behind this. The core idea behind is not to give you stock tips, but to teach you how to aggressively compound your money with going with big positions on a few stocks, right? So we're holding just 4 stocks and a good position size, and yeah, we've had a decent profit from LXCHEM Organics. We are up 30%. Remember, we first bought at 280, and then we added more around 350, 340 odd levels, and yeah, I'm not sure exactly what price. Maybe you can check that later. But for now, we are up overall 30%, right? So just let's look at the charts for today, and then we can move on to questions. Okay, so Lakshmi Chem. So we already drew this channel yesterday. So we've kind of broken this channel, and today is probably a retest. I'll just get the volume. right? So today is just kind of retest. The volumes have been big. Some people might say this is a sell-off. We never know if that's a sell-off, right? For example, even here, if you see, we had, yeah, so this was open was 295, close was 280. It's showing wrong here, but even here there was a big volume sell-off, right? So volume sell-offs always doesn't mean that the stock is going to go down. You have to wait for the price action to confirm that the price is going to go down. So unless we don't go below 355, the trend is up, right? So our stop loss is around 375, but 350 5 is the level below which if you go, then probably the short-term trend or the medium-term trend is changing from an uptrend to a downtrend. But since we started, this has been a clear uptrend, and there's no reason for you to be selling the stock even if you have bought it through IPOs. In fact, you should have bought more and probably added more to your portfolio. Okay, so LXCHEM is looking good. Now tomorrow, what I'll be doing is, in case we cross this level, right? So this is the recent, on the 15-minute charts, I'm looking at this. So this is the recent pivot high. So pivot high is 453. Now if you see before, this 450 levels here, and then we had a breakout, we kind of dipped again to that level, and then we headed higher and we kind of broke that and we kind of reversed again twice, right? So that's the zone I'll be looking at tomorrow. And if we cross this tomorrow and if we go higher, right? So if we cross 453 or 454 and if we go higher tomorrow end of day, and if we are able to sustain below above that, then probably I'm going to remove my stop loss on the hourly basis. If you see, this is the first dip that we're getting. So this is the first dip in the entire move since the 26th of August. We have almost had a 30% move, right? So if you go to this price range, so since this bottom, we went up almost 36%, and we are just having a sell-off, short-term sell-off probably. So if it breaks above 454 and heads higher, that probably will move stop loss to 430 odd. But for now, stop loss remains at 375. And in case you want to be a little more aggressive, 454 above, you can add also more stocks, and you probably build up your position to 40% or something like that. And then you can also move your stop to 430 odd, right? So in case we move our stop to 430 odd tomorrow, then how much would be our profits? Our profits, confirmed profits would be around 6% of overall portfolio, right? But we're not doing that right now. We just wait for confirmation tomorrow, and then we would see, how we take it from there. Okay, so that's the view on LXCHEM. Fortis, Fortis we added yesterday around this point, around 286 levels we added. It kind of was a shakeout here, then we kind of headed higher, we kind of headed lower again, right? So this is still a lower high, this is still a lower high, but we are having a higher low compared to this. Now again, tomorrow if we head above 293 odd, which is a very strong resistance on the hourly charts, right, on the lower time frame charts, if we kind of head above 294 odd levels, then, and if we are able to close above that, then probably I'll trail my stop now to 282 odd levels, okay, which is this low. So next is Cummins. Cummins is kind of forming an inverted head and shoulders pattern over here, right? Not a perfect one though. So this is the left shoulder, then we have the head, and probably the right shoulder. Now the left shoulder, some people, it's not a head and shoulders, sorry, it's a rectangle pattern. I think we spoke about this. So it's a rectangle pattern that we are forming, which is going up and down, up and down. Now for this stock to really gain momentum, 1008 is the level it's supposed to have crossed. 1010 is what it's supposed to cross. If it crosses 1010, then probably you're going to see all-time highs again and probably much higher levels. But again, back to the daily charts, if you see, we have just within that range, right? Which is going sideways. It's not doing much. The volumes are kind of drying up. The volume has literally hit a low of probably last 10-15 days. 400,000 shares have been traded. So yeah, probably it might break out the couple of days from now. Let's see what's here. But for now, stop is at 970 odd, if I'm not right. 950 odd. We continue to add, we continue to keep it there. And don't forget, today we added 7 shares of Cummins at 1000. So literally we are out of cash. We have just 12 rupees left. And overall, we are up around 7,000. Plus we are up around 7% overall portfolio, right? So as of today, remember, if all the stop losses hit tomorrow, then we'll be down to 98,000. So which means, so we'll give back around 8% of portfolio. Now that's how you have to be trading. You can't capture every top and bottom. So just go with the trend as long as it's there, right? So that's my view on Cummins. TATALXSI kind of, came down and kind of closed above. Just going back to the hourly charts, if you see, we are around that zone over there. We kind of had a close below. Our stop loss, remember, is around 4,600. So probably we're heading back to 4,600, and then probably we're heading higher. But today's close wasn't really convincing. But the level of 4,600 is what you have to look for. Tomorrow, if we reverse, it's a good sign. But for now, we are kind of closed, below that zone over there, right? So that was the zone I was expecting it to reverse back. But then we kind of closed below, and then we had last 1 hour decent volumes. Last 5 minutes also, last 15 minutes also decent volumes. Let's see where it opens tomorrow. Okay, but for now, yes, the trend is kind of going sideways. Okay, so that's my view on the stocks that we have. Just looking at the sheet, yeah, so we have fully invested. As I said, our portfolio heat is positive, but remember we will be losing. Our real money, as if all our stop losses hit, is 98,000. Now it's very important to know this. The reason is because today you're up almost 7%, right? So if you include the 7,000 from Cummins, we are almost up almost 7% up overall. But that's not what is real money. That's notional, right? So that's unrealized profits. Now, if you're going to realize the profits tomorrow, then you'd actually be still, in a loss of 1.7% overall from the money you have invested. Remember, we're just 1 month into this trading model portfolio, and it might take some more months in order to be in decent profits. So we need to give it time, and that's the most important thing in markets. We started on the 13th of July. Now, we are almost more than 1.5 months, and at least give it 3 months to see a decent amount of profits, even if your stop loss is hit, right? So probably 2 months from now, if the market is good, then we'd probably be up even here around 5%, 6% odd. Okay, so that's the view on the stocks. Just looking at small caps. So remember this level of 10,300, we are again close to that level. We hit to 10,283, and we kind of have seen a sell-off. The candle has become small. After 2 days of big green candles, the candle has become small. That is close towards the resistance. Remember, we need to cross this zone in order for the trend to be up again. Now, for now, we have formed lower highs. So this is the previous high. We had a lower high, and this is the previous low, and we've still not made. Probably one more dip, and then probably we're getting higher. No one knows. Yeah, for now, yeah, we might see some volatility in the next couple of days. Let's see. But if we cross about 10,300, then yeah, then I think we should be good. Okay, let's see what small cap index is having for us in the next few days. Okay, I think I'm done from a stock perspective. Now, in case you want some stocks, for next few days, I think United Spirits is looking good. So United Spirits is probably kind of going to break out from that level. And if you remember, I did share this in the newsletter. We are in a very strong 6-year symmetrical triangle. So you want to probably keep this in radar. And if we cross above 732 levels, and if we close up 732, then remember we are breaking out above all key resistances. If we close above 750, that's a fantastic close, because then we are also breaking out from horizontal resistance. So if you see here, 737 is the high. Here again, 742. So if you close up 740, 750, then you're going to see really a good move here. So don't forget, you've seen how Bharti Airtel is moving, a multi-year breakout. But here a close above 750 would be fantastic for the stock, and it's also nice cup and handle, right? So if you can look at a symmetrical triangle, if you look at that pattern there, it's a symmetrical triangle, right? You can also look for a cup and handle, right? So a cup and handle is because if you consider this point, so then you have the cup, and then you have a big rectangle, which is a handle. Yeah, the handle is not really I'd go for a symmetrical triangle here, but patterns really don't matter. What matters is what is your resistance that you're looking at, and whether the stock will cross above that. So remember, if we cross above 750 odd, then we'll not see levels of 700 again, probably in the next many years. Remember, same thing happened, whenever you see big breakouts, the same thing happens, right? So if you see here, we had a breakout here, we never saw the levels of 280 odd levels ever again. So probably this is a good investment candidate as well. So you want to look at it. One stock, if you're looking for safe investment candidates, then Bharti Airtel is going to give an excellent close. It kind of broke out from here. We had a cup and handle again, kind of broke out, kind of retested, and again heading higher. Now this levels of 580 should be a stop loss if you're investing, and Bharti Airtel can move much higher. So remember, the same thing happened in Reliance. So this is a consolidation from 2007 to 2021, right? That's a 14-year consolidation. And we had a similar 8-year consolidation in Reliance, if you remember very well. We had this consolidation here, and this also kind of had a very good breakout, and then we never saw levels of 500 again, right? The same thing can happen. So if you're looking from investment perspective, United Spirits is a good candidate, and also there are other stocks which I've given in my newsletters. Go ahead and check out them. Okay, so let's start looking at your stocks questions. So start with Purna's question. Entered Adani Ports in 720. Is it a good time to pyramid now? Same question for HUL. So Adani Ports, yes, it's a good time to pyramid. We've kind of the first buy point was somewhere on the trend line. If you had bought, then probably it's a good time to pyramid. But remember, after all your pyramiding positions, so we kind of had a nice breakout from here, and it's a good time to add. But remember, when you have your stop loss right now is at 665 or 660. If you want to be a little conservative, even 650 could be a stop. Now remember, after pyramiding, you need to ensure that your combined stop loss for your first position plus the new position should not exceed maximum more than 2% of your capital. If you're going to lose, if your stop loss hits tomorrow after you pyramided, and if you're going to lose 2% of your capital, then that's not a good trade. Or from a investment perspective, people might have different ideas, but at least from a positional trading or the trade at least which I do, it's not a good idea to lose more than 2% capital on a single trade. So yes, to answer Purna's question, it is a good point to pyramid. Probably I'd have pyramided above 723, 724 levels. A little bit, yeah, it's still not a bad idea to pyramid now, but just ensure your risk is, overall not more than 2%. But I prefer to keep it around 1%, but it's up to you. But don't go beyond 2%. Some people prefer to keep it around 0.5% as well. It's completely up to you. Now don't come and ask me tomorrow, for others as well, that should I keep 1% or 2%. I think that's up to you completely, and decide what's your risk appetite. Okay. Same question on HUL. Okay, let's look at HUL. HUL is not a good time to pyramid. It's already gone way too much higher. So you want to add after every consolidation breakout is when you want to add, right? So sorry, let's go to weekly charts. So that was one of the resistance that we're looking at, right? So the first, ideally, how you should have bought this, right? So ideally, you should have bought this when you were, so let's say you were looking at the previous breakout here. The first buy is here. Let's say the second buy should have been there, and now the third buy should have been here. So you want to wait for a similar consolidation. Right now, this is going just one way up. It's almost up 10%, right from this breakout. So I'd not add right now. Probably wait for a dip, right? And after that dip happens, so wait for a dip. And after that dip happens, and if it crosses again and goes higher, then you need to add above the previous high. Do not add it when a stock is up 10%, because you're going to add now and tomorrow the stock dips, you're going to be in losses. So your buying points need to be in such a way that when you buy a stock, you're immediately in profits. Like you might have, if you don't know how to pyramid, go back to our videos and you can check them out. But right now it's not a good time to pyramid. So you want to probably, have such kind of dip here, and then it comes up, right? So your first buy point would be here, and then you see this dip, and then it comes here, again goes down. So then you move this to a new pivot, which is here, right? And then it again goes down, then it starts forming a tight range, right? So that's when you need to kind of keep your entry point there and kind of enter in this breakout over here, right? So you need to wait for your setups. Don't just pyramid at any point. It really doesn't make sense to pyramid just because stock is going up so much. You're feeling, you have the FOMO feeling, and you just go and add. That's not how you do it. Okay, so wait for a dip and then you can add. Also, it's a good time to enter LXCHEM. Not yet. As I said, you can, if you're, sorry, I have the stock here. Yeah, if you're willing, you can probably enter above 554, but then keep a stop around 430 odd. But then if your stop loss hits the same day, again, that's a risk you should be taking. It's up to you, but I'll probably wait for a consolidation like this, and then you probably enter above this. Now, I've given a lot of videos on how to pyramid, and also go and check my ICIL video where I made 3 lakhs. I made a video on that. You need to wait for such consolidations and buy when it's breaking out from this zone, right? So that's the point you need to buy. You can't be buying before that, right? Wait for a breakout or buy near trendline reversals like Jubilant and Gravita we did. So you want to buy near trendline reversals and then add more, right? So after you add that, probably your second buy point should be above this point, right? So your first buy point is here, your second buy point is there, and then you have a massive move. Then your third buy point is probably above this point, right? So that's how you buy stocks. And this needs a lot of practice. So you need to keep practicing. You need to buy, you need to experience those losses. That's why I say if you're a beginner, don't trade too much, but keep a small amount of capital, experience your losses, experience your profits, correct your mistakes, and then you will start learning slowly and steadily. Okay, Parvesh is asking me on GLS on the hourly charts. Let's look at it. Yeah, so GLS has been in a downtrend. Yeah, it's kind of had a good breakout today. So that's a good breakout. Yeah, so your stop loss is very good. Now 665 stop loss, just 30 point stop loss, 5%. Go ahead and take the trade if you want to. It's up to you. yeah, and let me know if it works out, right? So keep a stop at 660. You can enter right now if you want. And also this trend line has broken out. It's not a perfect trend line, and probably we might, yeah, so that's hourly charts. I'm just checking here. It's not a perfect trend line. Probably we might head higher and come down again. No one knows. But for now, it has given a good closing about outside the trend line, right? So it's a good setup. Also, hourly, if you see, we kind of had a similar pattern, and then it had a breakout. So looks good. Go ahead, and if you want to buy it, you can buy it. Okay, let's move on to other questions. Yeshava Bharati did very well. Can I buy Tata Coffee in tomorrow 215 range? Tata Coffee. Let's look at it. Yes, in fact, I should have bought it earlier, right? So if you're tracking stocks, you should buy it on breakout. Now, this was a perfect trend line. You see the trend line, how many touches there were? We had multiple touches, and it had a gap up today morning, and it moved higher. So you can buy it tomorrow, but for all your positions, if you're aggressive, keep a stop around 190. If you're a little conservative, keep your stop around 178, 175. Now remember, again, I'm telling this again and again, just because you think that I have said, the stock is going to go high, I can buy, and you think that stock is good, don't go and put all your positions, all your money. Remember how I allocate the money. I allocate money in tranches, right? So I want a trend confirmation. Then I first buy, probably I'd have bought this right at 203, so that I have made this decent money, and then I'd risk that money back in the markets, and then I would take more positions. That's how I trade. Now, don't go and tomorrow put 100% of money or 50% of money. That's not how you do it. Okay. So, but yeah, it looks good. It can head higher. The trend is still up, and it's a good stock as well. Hi Shinde, hi Prakash, hi Anurag. Harish is asking me views on Equitas. Which Equitas? You need to tell me. I think there's Equitas Small Finance, there's Equitas Holdings. Just tell me in the comment section and we'll look at it again. Masood, hi. Anurag, Borosil Renewables, how are it on charts? Let's check it. The trend is still up. Probably this is just a lower high, and yeah, it has kind of broken down the trend line. So yeah, the stock is still in uptrend. I'd say keep a stop around 270 odd, and probably you can trade this. Now, even I gave this recommendation newsletter, but it never picked up. I thought this breakout here kind of happened when we had a good closing, but this was probably a big breakout failure, and it's just going sideways. Now this week's candle looks promising, so that's why I said keep a stop around 270 odd, and let's see where this goes. But yeah, the stock is just going sideways. There's not much happening here. You were saying Asian Paint target reached today. Thanks. Yeah, so it takes time, right? So we did discuss this. So we did discuss that it's close to trend line. You need to wait, and then I said probably it'll head higher, right? So it takes time. You need to have patience in trading. You cannot be in a hurry. You need to give the stock its time, and then if you find such setups, go ahead and buy them. In fact, the day we discussed, if you had probably had the guts, you could have probably bought this around that price or this price. I don't know when we discussed, and you could have made some more money as well. So it's completely up to your courage to take the trade, the courage to accept that stop loss, and the courage to go with decent position size so that you can make decent money. So that's the game in markets, right? So if you've understood that, then you can trade really well. Okay, it takes time though. I think that already happens today as well. 20% of profits are stuck. Yeah, it doesn't matter if the SEBI says it, then you have to abide by the rules and just trade. I really don't have any views. A lot of people comment on Twitter on these things, but it really doesn't matter. You have to play with the game. If the rules are set, then everyone has the same set of rules. It's all about how much you can take advantage, or how much can you adapt to the change and trade. So yeah, I don't have really any views. Christian is asking me on Nifty Reality. Some stocks seem to do well while others aren't. Yeah, it's always not every stocks would do well, right? In markets, there is always some stocks which will do well, some will not. So I think we spoke about this retest here around this week. I also mentioned this in my newsletter that this is probably retest is done and probably we're heading higher. That was perfect retest, perfect hammer with a selling demand in that week there, and we're heading higher. Okay, so it looks good. We might probably head back to all-time highs. The market just needs to support. If Nifty starts cracking, all the sectors will start cracking. So just hope that Nifty doesn't crack and go sideways. Even if Nifty goes sideways, the index might do really well. All stocks also might do well. Okay, Arpit, 73 is also 100x from March lows. 100x? 100%, yes. That's good insights. Yeah, you're right. Actually, 7500 was low, and we are more than 2x actually now, right? Okay, hi Suhas. Hi, Binay is asking views on vinyl chemicals. Let's take a look. Vinyl chemical is just soaring, it's going all time high. So the trend is clearly strong, right? So keep your stop around 170 odd, and I think just hold on to this. It might give good. It also broke out from this kind of a trend line. The momentum is really strong, so just don't sell it off. Chemical stocks are on fire as usual. So just keep your stop around 170 odd, and you will see a dip somewhere, and then it'll head higher again. Then you can trail your stop loss. So for now, yes, the trend looks fantastic. Okay, Bajaj Finserv is also on fire since many days. Yeah, again, I have no views here. On the long-term charts also, it has given a breakout. Probably it's heading much higher. No one knows. A lot of people have sold off the stock, I think, already, thinking it's too high. But from 4,000, it has already gone 4x up. So just continue to ride the trend, right? Your stop loss should be around 13,800 levels. Okay. So I was asking Quest, Sundaram Fast, setting up nicely. Let's check. Yeah, Quest is setting up really nice. It's forming higher lows. It just is facing resistance around that highs. Yeah, it's a good buy. It's a very small stop loss as well. 795, 800 is your stop. Yeah, it's setting up well. Okay, so that's nothing to discuss much there, but it's a good setup. This is a nice setup. This is a beautiful setup. I love such setups, especially if you want to take a nice trade. This is a nice, beautiful setup. It has very if you see, all the candles are within this green day, right? So if you see, the low is 740, high is 819, and this low, yeah, was just higher than that low. So it's a beautiful setup. All you need to do is keep a buy order, above this point, about 815. Your buy stop, should be around 815, or even 816, or 820 also if you want, and keep a stop around 740, and probably this can head higher. But this is a very nice setup. If you want, I'll go in the weekly charts. You will see nice demand, right? Every time stock comes down, there is demand. It goes up again. So it's a nice setup. Also, last 4 weeks, it's within that candle, as I mentioned just now, and you can buy the stock, and probably it's going to head higher, right? Nice setup. I love such setups. Suhas, good spotting. Yeah, just looking at the long-term charts. So it had a breakout here. It was just a rounding retest, and then it's just consolidating, right? So when it moves, it can move really fast. So last 6 months, it is not doing anything. Okay, it's a good one. So KSB also has a very strong trend, right? So nothing to do on the daily charts. I think it's right around the trend line, right? So after this move, which has been going sideways, again, even though markets have gone down, this hasn't gone down. It hasn't even broken this previous low. It's just a retest, and it's just sideways, going sideways. So a good stock. Again, if you want, you're aggressive, then keep a stop around 1100. If you're a little conservative, then keep a stop around 900. Okay. Okay. Next, Kumuragiri in Indoco Remedies today form shooting star. How can we consider sell? I said I don't consider really candles. I just gave you an example. So of volume and selling, it doesn't really matter to me, because you will see that always happening in small cap and mid caps. There will always be sell off. Like if you see, there was sell off here, right? So there was sell off here. It can do a short term correction, but the trend overall is up, right? So don't analyze too much. It's not really required. Keep your stop around 430, 436 odd levels, and let's see where it goes, right? So volumes have been good, but there was sell off, but it can catch up, no one knows. So keep your stop around 420 odd, or even if you're aggressive, 430 odd, and probably you can kind of trail your stop loss. Is it too early to trail my stop loss Naukri and UTI AMC? Shankar, I think Naukri is having a good run since the breakout of 5,500. It is too early to trail your stop loss. It depends on how much you want to capture. If you want to capture the long-term trend, then you need to probably wait. Now, for example, when I say long-term trend, or at least a medium trend, right? So here there was a breakout here. Now you're seeing a similar kind of breakout. Then now here, if you entered around 3,000 odd levels, according to the pivots or according to the swing high, swing low, you could have probably exited around this point, right? Now you need to be clear on what kind of a time frame you're trading and what kind of profits you're looking at. Now this was a 50% move in so I'm considering only till here, till stop loss was hit. Okay, so this was a move from July till Jan, right? So in 4-5 months, you've got 56% returns. Now, are you looking for such returns? Are you looking for a short-term return? Probably are you looking for returns only so much. It depends. You need to have your objective very clear. Otherwise, you will get confused. You will always try to sell off. You will think of selling off. All these confusions will happen. So that's why always wait for a dip. If you want to trail your stop loss, then wait for a dip, and then you go and trail your stop loss, right? Now, this is one of the primary reasons why most of them confuse themselves, especially in the bull market. A lot of people have missed out on big rallies. That's primarily because they think that the market has made a top, right? But there are some stocks which just keep going higher and higher, right? So for example, in gold AM, if you see, the stock has just been going higher since that breakout, 15-year breakout of volumes. If you see, it's just been going higher. So if you bought at 188, today it's at 700 levels. Now, anyone who's trying to predict and sell off here just because it had such a fast move will lose out on this, right? So every time you see it is just following a beautiful trend up, and you never know which stock in your portfolio will have that kind of a trend up, and you cannot predict that. So just tell your stop loss and ride your winners and let the market give how much it wants to give, right? So that's up to the market. UTI AMC also, let's take a look. I think even this stock has been doing really well, though many of the AMC stocks have not done well. The stock has been doing really well since that breakout there, right? So UTI AMC, if you're here, you can probably trail your stop loss because we've had a dip there and probably headed higher. But yeah, you can keep your stop loss around 1030 odd levels, or you probably can keep your stop around 930 odd levels, right? Now this is purely from a positional trading perspective. If you're investing, then probably you want to wait for a nice dip and probably a consolidation of at least a few months. Now, right now we've not had a dip on the weekly time frame, right? So it's just a move to one way up. Also on the monthly time frame, if you see, we've just had a one-way move up. Now, if you're an investor, probably you need to wait for at least a few months of consolidation and then trail your stop loss and see where it kind of dips. Probably it'll dip all the way down. Then you want to add more if you have conviction on the company, and then probably you want to buy more and then trail the stop loss. That's why I don't prefer investments. I don't really know, because I know I can catch such kind of stocks, keep trailing my stop loss, and when the stock is dipping all the way probably back here, I'll move to some other stock and make more money. So you need to understand, as I said, the time frame you're trading. What are you trading? Are you trading short-term moves, long-term moves? Are you trading the complete trend? Are you an investor? Are you a trader? You need to define that define that. You only can define that. I cannot define that for you. Okay. But yeah, if you want to trail your stop loss here, Shankar, then 1030 probably is a stop loss that you can trail. Okay. Venkatesh asking trading in equity. Sorry, I missed many questions, I think. Okay, I think we're running out of time. I'll just look at strategy questions quickly. CMOC had been forming inside candles after the 18th August candle and broke out today. Do we still keep trading stop loss below the candle or trail it to 690? Let's look at Vallabh's question. It has moved up now, right? So yeah, I would not keep a stop loss at 690, right? Because all these candles have been inside this candle. So this is kind of an inside weekly candle. So I will only trail my stop loss. Probably I'll keep my stop loss to 600 or to this candle also. So around 640 odd, right? Don't keep your stop loss above that, because there's still a chance that can just dip all the way back below, right? So when do I trail my stop loss? I trail my stop loss when you see, if all the candles are inside candles, then I don't trail my stop loss. I will wait for a nice dip to form on the daily charts, and then I will trail my stop loss. So for now, yeah, it's a good point to add more, but your stop loss still remains at 640. But if you're aggressive, then it makes sense to move to 690. But the trade-off here is that the stock can come back, test 640 and again head higher. Okay, that's the trade-off. Okay, I'm just going to look at for any strategy questions. Venkatesh is asking, trading in equity during uptrend is okay, but how would one trade in swing trade during downtrend? So every market will have some kind of a move up. Now remember, bear markets do last for many years, but in those many years, probably could be a sideways market after a crazy fall. You will always see some stocks which are moving. So you have to find those stocks. Even if there are 10 stocks in markets, it's more than enough for me to find the stocks and ride the trend. Okay, so that's how you need to spot them. I'm just looking for any other questions on strategy. Yeah, okay, there's no more question strategy. Okay, Ninad asking me on Timken. Let's look at Timken. Okay, Timken is strong, Ninad. Yeah, I think you can see that automatically. Just looking from long-term chart, probably, we have some more move is there. Okay, so you can probably wait on the long-term charts in a beautiful long-term uptrend. Now, this is what I said. If you're an investor, you have to wait for that dip to form and then you buy more, or you buy again on breakout there. Right? Again, you have a dip, you again buy on this breakout there. So that's how investors can do. But yeah, you have to probably see that dip, have the courage to see the dip, and then buy again there. So yeah, that's up to you. But for Timken, it looks really good. It has kind of broken out that from the point. And probably you also want to add this level here. Can probably come down all the way and retest and probably head higher. So, but for now, yeah, stop. The trend looks amazing. 1450 or 1480 can be a stop loss. Okay, Equitas holding, Harish. Okay, let's check that. I think this is a strong downtrend. Oh, okay, it's an uptrend. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. So it has given a breakout here. That's probably an inverted head and shoulders breakout, and it's an uptrend right now. The long-term trend has changed from an downtrend to an uptrend, but there is another bearish trend line, and it's probably getting rejected from there. So I would probably want that trend line. So multiple trend lines can be there, multiple bearish trend lines, but this looks like it's out of the downtrend because we had good volumes this week, and it's just probably correcting in the short term. Okay, we are seeing some demand on those wicks, so probably we might head higher again. Just seeing if there's any trend line. Okay, there's no trend line that I see. Probably this one. Yeah, so probably we might take some more time, consolidate around the zone, and then we might head higher again. Okay, yeah, but it has to cross 138 levels, then probably we are again back in a long-term uptrend. Okay, I think Anurag, Borosal enables I've covered already. Infibeam. Yeah, Infibeam is so this is what I say, right? So if you're a short-term trader, you'd have exited probably here. But if you're an investor, then probably you go to weekly charts and then you kind of hold, because this is a massive support zone that you're seeing. It had a very good move today. Probably the short-term trend is reversing again, right? So that's the trend line support. Probably short-term trend is reversing. So if any dips here, probably can be bought. But if you're a swing trader, then probably you want this level to be taken out. 48, 49 should be taken out, and then you can probably add more. But for now, yeah, it looks like a reversal day today. Prakash Singh, monthly chart, BSC metal rectangular breakout. Really? I am not sure. Monthly chart, BSC metal rectangular breakout. No. So if you're saying you have to consider trading based on index, you should not be taking trades based on index. Your stock, some stocks will continue to behave good, some stocks will continue to behave bad, depends. So even if the index is going down, you've seen that we've held on to some stocks like LXCHEM didn't go anywhere down, right? So even the small cap was going down, LXCHEM was just going sideways, or TATALXSI was going sideways, Cummins was going sideways. So never trade based on index, and never take stocks, buy stocks based on index. Always go with stock specific stop loss, stock specific targets, because index might go down, index might go sideways, but stocks can go higher. Okay, so never take trades based on the index. Exide, Anurag. Exide, I think, is kind of in a long term. I think I shared this some time back. It is in a long term 25-year channel. The channel is missing, rest everything is there, right? So I think I kind of drew this some time back, and we are in a long term channel, right? So probably yeah, it's kind of, you might see it's kind of a breakdown, but it might reverse, because this lower trend line can be adjusted depending on where it kind of reverses, right? So it can also reverse like that, come all the way here and can probably reverse also. If you see that parallel channel is still intact, right? So the parallel channel, that's why I say parallel channels are very deceptive. You need to know how to draw parallel channels. You need to know where your stop loss is and all that. So yeah, it is a strong downtrend. I will not be touching this stock anytime soon, but it is near a very strong support zone. That's a very strong support zone. This zone over here is a very strong support zone. So might reverse, we don't know yet, but I would wait for the stock to form higher lows, and then I'll probably take a trade. Okay. HAL is falling down. It's not fallen down much. I don't know why I'm saying it's falling down, but yeah, I'll not add unless it crosses above 1420 odd. Again, it hasn't. It's just one day red candle after many days. It's just a small, this one, dip after the major trend up, right? So for now, the trend looks okay. It's up to you. Right now, I did not buy the stock. The stop loss is pretty deep. I have a 37% stop. If I buy here, my stop loss will be here. right? I would not prefer stop losses, such big stop losses. You probably want to wait for a consolidation like this and then buy when it breaks out again. Okay, so that's my view, Rishi. IRFC, it's a strong downtrend as well, but there's a major support. There's a major support. Okay, on the weekly charts, if you see, you'll see it. Okay, it's not really, but this is just a dip. So probably if you're a positional trader, you should not probably be holding this because your stop losses have been hit. But yeah, if you're an investor, you can keep holding on to this. Keep a stop loss around 20 odd, you can keep holding on to this. Okay, Anurag is saying sold IX to 20 profit is next into point coming. No one knows. I don't know, Anurag. No one knows. This is why I say, why did you sell off? I don't know why. A lot of people do this. You book 20% profits just because you think that the markets are heading higher or lower. But if you see, this has actually given up a parallel channel breakout. Now, this is a kind of a parallel channel. It has broken out. It is going really well. I don't know why you sell such stocks. You shouldn't be selling such stocks. They are in an awesome trend, and you should be riding the trend and be making as much money as possible, because it's very difficult to find such stocks. Otherwise, I think I've answered all of your questions. So before dropping off, let's like that button. I have 22 people who are still with me. I have 12 likes, so 10 more likes are missing. Yeah, let's hit the like button. Utkarsh is saying, thank you for your good work. I'm learning quite a lot. Really, that's the objective, Utkarsh. I'm really glad that you're learning a lot. And I'd also be happy if you can share that feedback, on Twitter or on one of the videos, so that, people understand what we're doing and how we are learning. Okay. So otherwise, I'll leave you here. Don't forget to share the video with your friends, especially Utkarsh. If you feel this is really helping you, just share it with your friends and your colleagues as well. Probably a lot of people have money and are investing the wrong way or doing trading the wrong way. It's really your hard-earned money, and you shouldn't be losing it. Okay. So yeah, I'll leave you here. Have a good evening. Sleep well, and I'll see you tomorrow again. Trade safe, keep risk management always in check, and you would make money. That's the only mantra for success in markets. There's no other mantra. Okay, thank you and have a good night. See you tomorrow.